Okay, one person, thank you. Um, hey, the one. It must have been the one. Who was the one? Um, well, let's see what the Fed does at 2 o'clock. I guess they're going to cut um, by 0.25%. Which, what do I think? I think they might cut by half, I guess. Let me see what the stock prices are doing. Rail's down 2 cents. It's down 5 to 6%. That's okay. I think that's good. Um, it's to me anyway, from years of getting stuck in these kind of stories. It's good when they don't go straight up. It's just healthy. But having said that, I still stick by my guns. Looking at that chart on rail, I think it's on the verge of breaking out. Um, it opened at 42 cents, so it's normal to pull back. But I think once it breaks out of sort of 40, 41, 42 cents, I don't think it's going to go break out on a whimper. I think what I think's happening with rail is you're getting a revaluation of the company. To put it simplistically, which is all I'm left with, because I'm not a techie, it was an R&D company. It created the product, patents, they raised money, they did it, and the product works. It takes 6-9 months worth of complicated teams and millions of dollars, and apparently with AI and other little things, it's all a closed system, so it's proprietary. Um, it reduces it to a matter of minutes, hours, days. So that's a huge leap in uh, productivity, if that's a word that can be applied. So I think what you're going to see in rail is a revaluation as they find customers, which I don't, looking at the news, they got a partnership, but it's not like they've really announced, new customers yet. But one would assume that's what's going to come. The last announcements were the closing of their non-toxic financing. Um, they brought on AMD to accelerate their artificial intelligence innovation. And then they presented at, I don't know if it's the conference, but it's one of the conferences for AI. So what I think's happening with rail, we'll find out how quickly. No one knows that. It's going to get revalued, and techie guys, from analysts to bankers to investors, they're all out there. They know this space. Their minds are lubricated to process this kind of transaction very quickly. So that's kind of how I see it. And that's why I say the chart, if it breaks out, I don't think it's going to be because someone doesn't have a desire to own the stock. I think it'll break out because someone somewhere says, wow, this company should be worth a lot more. They now have the next generation of whatever the heck it is they have. And, they're on the verge of being the next great thing for a while. In technology, there's always great things. Hey, Chuck Beach, Darren, Ryan, Pat. Born free as the wind. So middle ground's sorry, asking about the CEO leaving suddenly. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, you can. But the stock's down $1.40, and I kind of warned you. Well, I definitely warned you that it would pull back. Looking at this chart, charts are a lot like statistics. They can say whatever you want them to say. But I think it's going to try to form a head and shoulder pattern, which means it could have a rally a little bit and then drop to $3 or something. Because this is a pretty big correction. But after Ham's done, we can look at the chart. Sorry. I personally am glad that Nix has pulled back. Not if you didn't sell anything, you're not feeling good about it. But I think Nix needed to sell off because I don't know what's it like. It's like putting up scaffolding made out of bamboo and building it on top of itself and on top of itself and on top of itself and not anchoring it anywhere. It's not stable. That by pulling back, having a correction, pretty decent volume, it's like anchoring the first row of scaffolding to the bricks and to the gate and making sure it's got a foundation on the concrete, and where the dirt is, you put some stone under it and you solidify it, and then you make the next row and you attach that, and you might even bring something out and down to the concrete on that row. Anyway, it's about building a foundation for a future move. But I thought to have Nixxy more than double, you needed to have a pullback. But no, I don't. I don't have middle ground. You probably haven't listened to the story on Nixxy, so it surprised you, and that's part of the problem with just investing in things you hear about. You can be affected by meaningless news. This service doesn't give a lot of news, so let me just go to a different news source. I'll go to the I know I have to do your homework for you, so I'm sorry if it bores you, but this is something you could do yourself. So the last news stories, they announced the closing of an offering in 21. This doesn't help. So let me go to Yahoo. Here comes the Fed. Let's see what it said. Let's see what he does. Here comes the judge. Nvidia rebounds. Bullish outlook. Fed decision. We don't see it yet. Anyway, let me go to this on Nix. Let me just give you the news stories. You can go to Yahoo to see them. Okay, so the last news stories for Nix. They withdrew the record date for the spinoff. That was, as I told you, that, let me see if I can remember it. They filed their request with the SEC before they announced it, which was that was just a clerical mistake. So they had to withdraw it and they have to start over. It's a non-event. Last month, Nixxy detailed strategic growth, the just got to have it acquisition dates, and the record date, which they screwed up on. They also announced in a separate vehicle the spinoff of Cogno Group, which we just mentioned. 2 months ago, Nixxy signed the letter of intent to acquire the privately held company in the wholesale business. They also separately issued a strategic focus. So let's just go middle ground. Unfortunately, if for others this might be boring, but I know that you need help to read news stories. So a month ago, Nixxy announced that they put an update on the letter of intent to acquire the wholesale gifts business, Just Got to Have It, JG. And they originally filed with the SEC at the end of October. So the letter of intent aligns with Nixxy's focus on acquiring businesses positioned for digital transformation. The wholesale gifts industry in which JG operates relies on outdated sales technology, including 30-year-old sales application tool. This acquisition represents an opportunity for Nixxy to enhance efficiency and potential growth in the gift sector through technology-driven improvements. With an estimated market size of $25 billion in annual sales, the wholesale gifts market represents opportunities for modernization and efficiency gains. Through this planned acquisition, Nixxy aims to introduce a next generation order management system, an automated platform for acquiring brands and stores, an online marketplace, and AI-driven business processes designed to be user-friendly for small business users. These initiatives are anticipated to streamline and improve customer engagement. JG for 24 will have revenues above 10 million with 4 million in gross profit. This acquisition meets Nixxy's strategic objectives. Nixxy anticipates closing this acquisition in January of 25. Then it goes on the spinoff, and we'll ignore that. They have a 3-year target of building $1 billion company. I think that's going to come much more quickly. They're going to use the platform that they got out of this Logic ecosystem, and it started with recruiter.com, called Radix AI. It's a platform built in 2016, which is to help small businesses leverage artificial intelligence for business processes, inventory, and order management. It's the same, repetitive. All right, so that was the most recent story. If you go back to the 2 months ago story, Nixxy signs letter of intent to acquire the target company's gross merchandise volume is 66 million with 10 million in net revenues for 24. They didn't give the name, I don't think. Let's see. So on October 17th, Nixxy announced it signed a letter of intent to acquire a privately held wholesale gift business. They didn't name it. They would make further announcements in 7 days. Nixxy's strategy includes acquiring established standalone businesses which are profitable and stable. But they can use the digital transformation to improve. Nixxy is focused on areas where technology can, bada boom. They're going to try to acquire things 10 million to 100 million in gross revenues, but they want margins of 40% or higher. Focusing on technology, and it's the whole logic, Radix AI, 3-year plan. Building a strong leadership team with experience in capital markets, mergers, acquisitions, and operational management. Nixxy plans to announce key appointments in coming weeks. So I can't find, and Ham, I think, wants to come on line middle ground, but in the filing, it was never intended. Granger Whitlaw was the CEO of Recruiter.com. And originally the idea was to merge in, and he was going to go with Recruiter. When he saw how big this was, he stayed. He got a it's in filings. That's your assignment if you want to look it up. He got a pay package of something like 200 or 250,000 shares of Nix and cash, and he wouldn't leave. He stayed as CEO, but he was never intended. He's a salesman. He's in recruiters.com. He has no applicable skill in the technology field that I know of. I'm not saying anything bad about him. So I think his resignation is step one in the acquisition, the final step of the acquisition of Just Got to Have It, which is expected to be finalized in January, and I think sets the predicate for a dramatic move in the price of Nixxy stock. So contrary to your implication that this is something to be afraid of, I see it as the jettisoning of old business to get down to new business. And thank you for your comment. Let's see if I can get Ham on here. Takes a while sometimes.
Battery 80%.
Okay.
Connected to.
But let's quickly look at what the Fed did, because everyone wants to know. Yeah, 1/4 points. That was what was expected, 1/4 point. What'll matter is whatever he's saying now, but I don't want to listen to it. He's about as exciting as listening to a lawyer. So let's see if I can get him. It's still not there. I just did it. You heard me do it. Yeah, now I'm talking to your audience. You better hurry up. Your audience is running away from you. They're ahead of you. Hang on. It's not giving me your speaker, so just hang on. You might have to turn the phone on and off. I don't know what the problem is.
You need a technician in here.
I need a producer or a wife. All right, so let me hang up, turn off my phone, and restart it. That's all I can think to do. All right, bye. Federal Reserve cuts its key rate by a quarter point, but envisions fewer reductions next year. Fed policymakers project 2 quarter point reductions next year. I'm not sure the market's going to love that. But the problem with our economy is not the Fed. I mean, it's one of the problems. We've got to become an economy again. We can't just be these top-heavy financial guys. They're all guys. I think there's one woman up there. Women wouldn't be as dishonest as these men. Let's see if this will work. Okay, so why aren't you making noise? All right, let's see. Okay, it's going to work this time. It's going to work.
Hello.
You're on.
Well, la-di-da-da. Big fucking deal.
And la-di-da, you sound like that chick from The Godfather. What was her name? She's in Woody Allen's movie. She says la-di-da.
Diane Keaton.
Diane Keaton, yeah.
I think she did that. She did that in one of his movies. I watched all of Woody Allen's movies. I love them. Anyway, let's get right to it. 3 months ago, I told me about that stock, NU, whatever the hell it's called. I completely forgot about it. And today it went up $60, whatever it went up.
What stock are you talking about? How do we look it up? NU, whatever?
I can't remember the symbol. NUKK.
I don't. Yeah, all right.
Is that it? NUKK, right?
Nucleus?
Yeah, whatever.
Is it nuclear? It's nuclear power?
What? NUKK, I believe is the symbol.
Yeah, I got it. It's up 42 points.
It was just at 60 something. So
it opened at 18. It closed at 12 yesterday.
It was like $2 2 days ago, something like that.
Well, la-di-da.
So the answer to everybody is I'm not a guy that likes to say you see this, you did this. But the only reason I'm bringing it to your attention is that's why we're here in finger motion, because I see this. I see finger motion, and people ask me again, what's my opinion? I said it's going to 2,000. And you can say, why? Because the education is the most important thing about it. NUKK, some idiot told me about it 3 months ago. He asked me what I knew about it. I said, I don't know anything. And he says, I'm told to keep an eye on it. That was it. I don't know anything about it. So some people get, some people have the right connections. I just don't know it. I follow one stock and I get all the information I can. And it's just a matter of when they're going to fold. It's just the way it is. And I don't believe it. Another guy called me up because I missed it. I said, hey, just go pay $70 for it. What's the big deal? It's either going to be 0 or 200. Who knows? There's no education about it. No one knows anything about it. And meanwhile, it's up $60. You want to chase something like that? Good luck. I don't believe in that. If you do,
that's the riskiest thing to do. You can lose half your money in 6 hours.
In minutes. Yeah, in minutes.
Yeah,
So I
or
stay
less.
away.
Yeah.
I use it as a reference so you learn how to trade these things as it's going up. If you get selling 200, always up, maybe you catch the top at $2. I don't know. But that's the only way to get out of these things. You have to do that. Don't sit there holding your whole position and say, oh, I never sold because I missed it by $1. You don't do that. You make sure you tiptoe out, hold on to some. You can't win on every share. So you hold on to some. If you believe in it, you hold on. Not all of them, something. That's all. And you wait for the next one. That's how you do it. But when you have the education about something, we know the shorts. We know how it is. We know how big the real short is. We know the company's doing. We know everything about it. Versus what they know, and that stock is just nothing. So again, I'm not calling to smack it in your face. I'm just trying to teach you how it works. Understand it. They go when they go. I don't understand why it went. I have no clue. They did a reverse, so they have a small float, 3 million. What's the float in figure motion, William? We calculated it the other day.
Yeah, I think 4 million something.
That's so well. It's 3 million, 4 million.
4 something. I don't remember the exact.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's very tightly held, and the people overseas own most of it. 90%. They probably own that whole thing. We all own naked shorted shares over here. But and you're watching the trading in finger motion. Stocks do not trade like that. They don't spike up and go straight down in one day. I can see a finger motion ran to 60, then I can see it pull it back. But the stock ran up to 270, and it was like the building was on fire. That's because the building is on fire for the short sellers. And William, you probably didn't see it, but on FINRA's site they had the December fines for all the crooked activity, and Citibank, I believe, was up to $2 billion. They didn't enforce margin calls. Up to $2 billion worth of positions, I think it was. So we always say to ourselves, how do these guys continue to hang around? Well, if your prime broker is giving you extended credit and you don't have to put up more money on margin calls, that's how these guys are hanging around. The prime brokers are helping them out. They're part of the crime. There's no reason for them to be doing that. It's too risky. But they are. So they're part of the crime also.
What's 2 billion? You can send that money to the Ukraine and they'll wash it back to the Democratic Party and no problemo.
Let's look at some of the other stuff, William. I don't give a fuck about the Ukraine. There's some stocks that like I was just talking about with this stock. There's many others that got big short positions that have gone. How in the world is DKT not gone yet? How are they still holding it down? They're investigating it. We all do. And that reminds me, that's what I wanted to say, William. A good shareholder of ours is in Fort Lauderdale with a friend of his that's supposed to go to a hockey game with Brian Cohen. But it was canceled due to some sort of travel. They were going to take their kids to go. He was going to the game with them. And I had prepared him a statement to how Brian Cohen can help us all. So, hopefully they get back together and it's postponed and they'll do it again. But we almost got to Ryan Cohen this week. Just missed out.
All right.
So you keep trying, you'll get there. And remember, the people that went to Mar-a-Lago, everybody knows there's a committee, 5 members that are investigating naked shorts right now. They have a new notice, everybody knows about it. So we're getting close. It's going to come to a head. Listen, it's always right before the storm. These guys can't hide anymore. And you know what? We're out there. I posted the story about the Dubai, the criminals in Dubai naked shorting into the U.S. Obviously, whoever their prime broker is and their brokers all assisted them in this. They all belong in jail. The brokers, the prime broker, Those guys blew up 126 million. Think about that. That's not 10 million, it's 126. These guys, how much did they steal? What stocks did they do before? Who's funding them? Who's their prime broker? Not one reporter did a story on it. Just the offshore alert. That's how we found it, to my friends. And yesterday, William, I told people, on the market when they smashed it down from 270. I had two friends. They stepped up. They bought about 30,000 at 2.25, 230. I told them it won't go lower below that. It went to 205, 207.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's hard to pick the bottom, but you got to buy it when they're throwing it out the window. That's what we did. What else you got, William?
Well, let's see if there's any questions.
How was your doctor's appointment before we move on? All right.
It's the first one in my life where I didn't get stellar news. But hey, that's what happens. You get down the road, your body's not the same. But it was all right. It's not like I'm going to die tomorrow. What do you think about the Univest news on finger motion?
We told you about that months ago. But like a public company, they have to put it out in statements. Listen, if you were hired and you weren't performing, the company breaks apart their relationship. That's just the way it goes.
I see it slightly differently in that there's been discussion, even on one of the interviews, that the company might raise a little money, but away from Univest. So to me, getting that cleaned up, they can go ahead and raise a little money non-toxically. We'll find out. I don't have any secret information, but that's what I would expect.
I just thought that Univest, I heard they didn't perform, and the relationship is, you can't pay somebody for doing nothing, so they broke the relationship up. And it has
to be fair, maybe they performed, but it was toxic, and Martin turned it down. But you're exactly right. Nothing happened, so they ended it. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, listen, but as a public company, it was in a filing, I think, right? Everybody said it was in a filing. I didn't. So you have to get a lawyer, draw up a filing, file the paper. That probably costs $2,000 to do.
Yeah.
Nobody's don't want to waste money on non-events.
Yeah.
People don't want to do that stuff. And it's if a relationship isn't working out, they break it up. It happens everywhere. To me, it's a non-event. It's it doesn't mean anything. And then we heard about that months ago.
Let me see if there's anything else. What's the purpose of a trading halt? To help the crooks.
To help the crooks. So listen, once it starts gaining momentum, once a rock starts to gain momentum going downhill, how fast does it go, right? So they got to slow it down. What happened in finger motion? It started to gain momentum up to 270. It was trading great. It was going. All of a sudden, they had to stop it because it was over at that point. That's why they stop these things, so they can catch their breath.
I'm getting my eye fixed. I know I look weird leaning in, but I have no choice. Holding it down using a dark pool?
The dark pool, they're crossing trades in a dark pool that we don't see. The other day we don't see it all the time. But the other day, about 400 to 500,000 shares was crossed. There was no trade. All we got was volume. the volume was going up, but there aren't any trades. Like, there wasn't like 10,000 shares traded. Nothing traded. We were looking, I had 5 people looking for it. We couldn't find it. So they were doing it in the dark pool. What they're doing is they're crossing it, paying the fees, and basically, buying more settlement time. That's what they were doing.
They're just playing, what's that thing you do around chairs? They're just doing that with their back office clerks. Actually, it's not even in their house. It's at the broker deal. No one cares. They're just doing enough to make it look like they're handling their non-delivery.
Red Pepper. Trigger Motion's a stock that's going to trade 30 to 50,000 shares a day when these guys are put away, right? All these fake trades crossing, it's all nonsense. They created a dark pool for what reason? None of us can play in it. What good is it?
Yeah.
Who's doing it? Who's monitoring it? Nobody. Who does this? Nobody. Who does this? Nobody. There's nothing. It's the Wild West.
So Red Pepperoni tells you that he loves and supports your "Go Find Your Mother" responses.
Go find your mother.
No, I'm saying I can't yell that out. GFYN.
Well, listen. We're at the point now. We've been doing this a long time, right? Do I really need someone to sit there? One person said yesterday, I had a quick call up my call-in number, and one guy writes, I missed the call, and the other guy goes, you didn't miss shit. It's the same thing every day. I'm like, I wrote to the guy, says, just go away. If you don't, why do you need to talk about it? Something comes up. Today we talked about whatever the stock is, NUKK, whatever the hell it is. This is how these things work. We can't. We're specialized in certain names. We just can't talk about 1,000 other names.
Well, no. The problem is if you get into something that someone you trusted told you about, fine, or if you did your own work. But if you just jump in, you're subject to the same emotions anybody has. Anybody. If I hopped into this one, he's telling me about QUBT, and I'm sure I'm going to find it was a stock that got destroyed by shorts. Let me find out.
Is that quantum computer?
Maybe QUBT, maybe.
I have a new CEO. My friend told me about it yesterday. He had a squeeze one time. I met those guys. They were from IBM, nice guys, and they changed over management. But they had a squeeze, and it's been dead ever since.
It's now up though. It's 24 smackers, and we just look at the one. Yeah, see, this is what happens. But actually, that's interesting. That one got destroyed for what, 3 years? Obviously, they did a crappy financing, but now it's rallied in just, 6 weeks to its previous all-time high. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's where it was, right around there when it squeezed to 20-something dollars, right?
Yeah. So does it keep going straight up the flagpole, or does it tip over? I don't know.
He has some good fundamental news. My friend told me about it yesterday.
Yeah.
My friend Eddie told me about it yesterday. We discussed it. I told him I met those guys. They're from IBM, quantum computer. I says, who speak of quantum computers except those people, right?
Yeah. And then this gentleman is pointing out a stock called WIMI. He says it's going to be the next 100x quantum computing stock. So I see a theme here. Quantum computing runs. This is very frothy, top of the market action, maybe. On the other hand, never know.
You said WIMI, right?
Yeah, it's destroyed since 2020. They obviously did a crap financing, but it's now starting to pick up. And maybe it gets to $10, $12. But it'll stop at 2 first, and it'll stop at 3. It'll definitely stop at 4 and 6. I don't know anything about it. You know, maybe it's time for these over-the-counter stocks to have their day.
They are, listen, the ones that are being held down, okay, are the ones with the biggest problems. Big emotion, obviously, but the company keep fucking the shareholders. But those stocks keep getting held on. I keep telling you, why don't they let them go higher? Because they can't afford to. That's why. That's it. That's all you need to know. That's the whole game right there. And once they fold and they can't afford it, you get a stock that runs to the moon like that one.
Yeah. Just trying my using the wrong keyboard.
No problem.
There's no real other fascinating questions, but I'm sure there will be.
That NIXX, I'm happy the people that sold it took their money off the table at $6, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's what this gentleman is saying. It had to do with the CEO resigning. I don't think it had anything to do with that, but maybe that was the trigger.
Right.
I'm just got to find the filings.
Jeff Easton stocks KNW and the GMGI still drifting lower, new 52-week lows again. If people want to actually go trade Tesla up and down every day, 10 points, right?
Yeah. Tesla.
What else do I want to talk about?
Let me see. Let me see.
ZJYL, I haven't heard anything. GDC, I haven't heard anything. TLO, I haven't heard anything. Kodak, I'm looking for a break at 8, but it just can't seem to get there. Every time it gets to 750, they knock it down.
Founder IBKR, they must buy to close at any price. He said that in 2022.
He said that during the GameStop thing. He knows all about he's a Russian guy. He knows all about making short selling, that guy.
Is he Russian? Anything else? Michelle Gilster, tell him I tweeted an article about Credit Suisse. Report coming out.
I'll read it when I get home. Thank you.
I thought for sure we were going to have a good day, but they got us again.
All they're trying to do is stop the momentum. Momentum trade. I accumulate. We just keep buying. It's at the same spot. They'll stop selling. You can see them stop selling. They're just manipulating back and forth. That's all they're doing. I do the same thing. If I can manipulate the stock on 20,000 shares and mark it down lower, what's the big deal? No one's stopping me, so I keep doing it. That's all they're doing. And I keep telling you, if they thought they can win, they let it go higher. They can't win. They're trying to close it out. They need it to go down. That's the whole game.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find for this gentleman because he's busy and I'm not. I'm just trying to find the EGDR filing, the SEC filing on Nixxy that. No
problem. Hey, I told you to sell it to the rips and you can buy the dip. If you sold it up to $6, you can buy it back $2 in your pocket. You don't just get $2 if you want to be there. That's the only way to play. I don't know how many times I can tell you that. If you don't know anything about the stocks when they're running like that, you got to take profits.
Absolutely.
If you know the stock, it's a different story. I know MLSS is down again every day, the same spot. It's beginning to have the same pattern with everything else, right?
It has one pattern. It was a winning trade, and now it's not.
Anyway, other stock is doing well. GBUX. I told you, the guy said 2025. It's lots to play. So that's what the guy told me.
Yeah, that's done well. Yeah.
If he said it moves up a little bit, that's the sign of somebody accumulating it. Hopefully it's somebody really big. See what happens. But that's not going to happen until 2025. Hopefully it's $3 or $4 by then, and I'll be happy. But we sit here waiting for the dividend. There was a company that did a dividend today. I can't remember the symbol. T something with a T.
Dividend like finger motions.
I didn't get a chance to read it. I seen it bounce. I seen it. That's all I know. The symbol. See if I can find the story. Something with a T. I have a friend of mine in New York who's meeting with a Chinese guy we know from Harbin, China. Harbin.
Yeah.
A big government official. My friend knows him very well. So we're gonna find out some things about China tonight.
Is that Madam Lily?
No, I don't know. We're gonna ask him to do some legwork for us. He supposedly got good ties to Beijing, so. I can't believe I can't find this stupid thing. Hold on a second. Oh, TCBP. Tom, Charlie, Boy, Peter. If you can read about it, I haven't read about it yet. I just have the story. Announces shareholders to approve one-time shareholder dividend. That has approved a special dividend. You see, that's the idea. The only way to do it is you got to give a dividend. Just wait, and everyone here, just think about this for a second. Small public companies have to sit here and use their capital, hire a lawyer, do this, everything, to learn how to give out a special dividend to do what? What does a small public company have to do with the stock settlement system? Nothing. That's the right granted to the exchanges to having you list there. They'll trade your stock and settle it and make an orderly market. And now it turned into such a criminal operation that public companies have to spend their lawyers, their time, their effort, just trying to get rid of them now. Think about how crazy that is. Right?
Yeah.
Just amazing that these guys, continue to do this stuff.
So yeah,
Nixxy
is down $1.
Right.
Finger is up a penny. Everything's red, so I guess the market didn't like the Fed today.
What's the market down?
235.
That's like Nvidia down at time.
But it's not up. nuke is coming from a 52-week high of 70 cents. Oh. What's your best guess when finger squeeze?
When does it go?
Yeah.
I hope it's putting in a John or something. I can't see it. Just let it go. What am I gonna say? You know what I'm waiting for? It went to 10. The stock went from $1 to 10, and we're still here, like two jerk-offs reporting on it for a reason, because we don't think $1 to 10. We think it's $1 to 2,000. That's what I think. And we've seen it before. It happened in Volkswagen. It happened in HKD, which no one knew about. Just look at these stocks today. Went to $60 from $2 on nothing. No one even knows what the hell's going on. But the market takes down a penny, and the market makers keep selling finger motion. You realize we had sellers every day, enormous sell programs, selling every day. We got it to go up one day, and then the selling continued. They knock it down. It's pretty easy. If I own 100,000 shares and the stock's trading at 270, why would I sell 100 back down to 210? No one sells like that. This is pure manipulation.
How much will it cost the clowns to cover finger?
How much would it cost them?
Yeah.
Every dollar up from 370 up. It said that $1 billion. Those idiots in Dubai looked 26 million. That tells you how big they short is finger motion. 5 times greater, right?
If I could understand what you were saying, I'd say yes. But...
Okay. I'm just saying that the guys in Dubai lost 126 million.
Mm-hmm.
When finger goes, it's 370. Every dollar up is going to be $230 million loss. If it goes up $5, it's $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big a hole this is now. Forget the 1.7 million, the real short. I'm talking about the naked now. The real short data comes out on Christmas Eve, December 24th, for those who want to know. I am curious about it. I was kind of hoping that we win this already, because I was going to invite everybody to my birthday party.
Yeah, no one wants to go to Mass on Christmas Day.
The worst birthday ever. But I do feel that I've been doing this for 24 years. I'm a holy roller, but not a major holy roller. But I do feel that I was tossed into this fight for a reason. That's why I'm still here. If you can believe that. So I'm torn between going to a bar, going out drinking, or going to church and doing the right thing.
I'm not quite sure of this question, so I'll just read it as it's written. When we traded close to 1 million shares, what does Ham think on the amount of shares shorted, both real and naked, and then we have the washed ones?
So it was 500,000 was trades that we never saw a trade on. So we went from like 1 million down to 500,000 already. 100,000 was naked, was real short. They borrowed 100,000 shares. Someone was nice enough to post it. They said it was 90, but then they borrowed another 10. So they borrowed 100,000 more. So the 1.6 million is now 1.7 million. And instead of being 220, it's 221. Big deal, right? They didn't move it. They didn't move the needle much. The naked short that day, I think it was reported like 170,000, something like that, 170,000. So we're down to, it was 500, taking away 100, 400, 170 was making sure that out of that, what's left, I don't know what was, people flipping it, or was there more wash trades? I don't remember. I got it down to, we're missing about 150,000 shares. That's the whole breakdown of the day. I just gave it to you. You can't do that in DJT, GameStop, or KNXX, whatever that thing is. I don't even know what it is. But I can't tell what's going on in those things. And I just see a 247 figure motion went from 212 down to 206 on no volume. If you look at the chart, it looks like it fell off a cliff.
Yeah, no questions. There's a lot of people that want to celebrate your birthday with you.
I wish I could do it. I'm sorry. We had it all planned for Las Vegas. We got the big hotel. We got everything comped. We just can't get there. I apologize.
Why don't you talk about DJT? I think it's actually up a little bit. Let me look.
Yep. I can't.
It's down $1. I'm wrong, but anyway, it was up.
Well, somebody just made the market just dropped $300 or something like that.
378.
Yeah, it's down in the market. So the market sells off. The stocks that didn't go up with the market are the first that goes down. Trading motion goes down with the market now. What is it? A market stock now? They do that to take advantage of the decline in the market. They want it to go. They mark it down. And they want people on this call to sit there and say, oh my God, the market's selling off, let me get out. It's an old trick. I would do the same thing. You would do the same thing. If you're a short seller and you short 1 million shares at 3 and the market's selling off, hurry, go sell 5,000 at the market, knock it down. Hopefully you get some of the panic. The short sellers are buyers between 190 and 210. They're buyers in here. They're not sellers, they're buyers. But there are no sellers. And with that story coming out of Dubai, I can't believe they haven't run away yet. You know the investigation's going on. And William George Donahue.
Yeah, he's great.
He did a great video again. If you get a chance, go watch it. He talks about how these guys these guys are colluding, working with each other to attack big public companies, he said. He said these guys are just attacking like wolves, going after good public companies. Just watch his video. He's very good at it.
And he's only been doing it for 2.5 years.
Right. He's better than me.
There's no more questions, really.
Look at the volume in KNW. 900, almost 1 million shares. Lynn Partners needs to get their money, and they're selling it like crazy. They need money. Now, if Lynn Partners has a margin call, they can sell this stock down, and GMGI selling it down, getting the proceeds and using the money to put out the fire with us. That's one way for them to come up with capital. So everybody got their fill of NUKK, had enough? We don't have to talk about it anymore. Listen, if finger motion went from 2 to 60, I guarantee you at least 500 people's lives would be like changed forever. There'll be, that have positions, and if they sold it just in that run to there, their lives would change. They would pay off their houses, their mortgage, their credit cards, everything. But we got a crooked government here that doesn't, the SEC, FINRA. How do they not have any control over things done overseas? You tell me. I told you about a group out of Watchtower or Black Tower, I forgot the name of it, out of the Cayman Islands. They told me they were shorting stocks. The guy told me that's the place. I put it up on Twitter. I don't understand how we don't have a task force knocking on the door, locking these guys up and forcing them to buy it back right when you're in their office. Don't let them go away. Let them buy the stock back first. And if I wanted to talk about a short squeeze, ROT, 40 to 120, back to 60, back to 100, and now it's back to 7, down another 4 today. So after the short start covering, these things start to collapse down. You understand why you sell while it's going? You can sell the rip, buy the dip. I tried to call Richard Hoffman today to get an update on GTII. We just couldn't get, he's busy, so I couldn't get an answer. I wanted to hear what was going on there. I don't know anything, so when I hear it, I'll let you know. GameStop almost went to 32, back to 30 again. The Dow dropped 200 points as the Fed cut interest rates by a quarter point, William.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not sure they tamed inflation, but I think some banks are in trouble, so they have a fine.
I do think the banks are in big trouble. I've been hearing that from a lot of different places.
I think Merrill Lynch is Bank of America is in trouble.
Yeah. Warren Buffett tiptoed out. No one says anything about it. If Warren Buffett's tiptoed out of your stock, there's a problem. And let me tell you about that Virtue V.
I'll tell you what I heard the problem is with Bank of America, but then it's one sentence. Apparently, they're short 1 billion ounces of silver. But anyway, go on, move on.
Wow. I mean, these guys are just taking bets. They don't stop.
I mean, it's not, nobody can prove it any more than they can. That's a problem. There's no transparency, but that's the rumor I heard.
That's a good one. Makes sense. So I wanted to talk about Virtue V. Some guy Pulte saying they should sell the company. It's a $5 billion company. I keep trying to tell the guy Pulte it's worthless. Then they could short everything. If the stocks go up, they lose money. It's worthless. They got so much liability, it's impossible. But yet they keep trying. They want it to sell. Sell what? I told the guy, if you're gonna buy that, I want to sell him the Brooklyn Bridge too. He wanted what's it, Ryan Cohen to look at him. For what? All they do is pay for order flow and short it. There's nothing there. William, you watched the over-the-counter traders before. You've seen it on a big desk, right?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, there's 50, 100 guys.
Yeah, I've seen
Each
it.
one, each guy is making a market in 100 stocks. I can't follow 100 stocks. when their earnings are coming out, they're good, they're bad. It's very difficult. But yet, Virtue and Citadel do it perfectly every day. Every day I left the office, there was someone from the over-the-counter desk that had a bad day, losing a lot of money because he got caught in the stock. And yet these guys, these Virtue and Citadel, never have a big problem. Give me a break. Doesn't make any sense. What else you got, William?
Nothing.
No one has any questions? I'm trying to answer everything.
Did your brother work with the incoming SEC chair? You already answered that.
I don't know if my brother worked with him. I don't know. My older brother worked in stock loan. He was a risk-off guy. He was doing $1 billion trades back when no one was doing $1 billion worth. You know, very sophisticated stuff. I'm the dummy of the family. That's how it works. I will ask my brothers about that, though. My younger brother may know that SEC chair because he always went to the SEC. He did. My younger brother did bond pricing models, and he sold it to all the mutual funds.
It's the last question on the list.
That was it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hang in here so I can help you with any questions. It's everything's moving so slow. The market is basically
It's Christmas
like
time. Hanukkah starts on the day after. And Kwanzaa's in there. Democrats are leaving town, so it's going to be quiet. I think the SEC is probably empty.
William, someone posted that the SEC goes to work one day a month. And it was on the chart. Was it empty?
It's always empty when I go there. Or they go in through a different entrance.
Right. It's remarkable that these people don't go to work. Remarkable.
Why doesn't the DTCC make people cover? Because the DTCC is going to lose all the money.
The DTCC is owned by the brokerage firms. Each brokerage firm, according to how much business they do, that's the percentage they own of it. So, you know, I know a lot of smaller firms that got small positions, and when they take a hit, it hurts the small firms more than the big firms. Because they all put in. And everyone, you just watched a hedge fund blow up for $126 million loss. That means they were bought in, they were forced to cover, and someone's taking the hit for it. Does everyone understand that, William?
I guess.
Everyone said to me, well, if they walked away, who's going to buy them in? No one. Absolutely, someone buys them in and they take the hit. There you go. There's the example of it. That's how it works. We talked about virtue. We talked about finger. Listen, I can't stop this manipulation. I wish I could. But it's going to end poorly for them. I'm positive about. And we're not letting them get away. And I don't care if you buy the stock anymore. You don't have to buy it. We can just sit back and watch, understand it, retweet, reach out to anybody you can, show them the story about the guys in Dubai. They're offshore terrorists who have gained the financial stock settlement system. They have the keys to the settlement system, and no one says a word about it. Can you believe that? That's remarkable. One person said boo. 0. Think about that for a second.
What would you
And
do?
Yeah,
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
I see Klondike bars.
You do?
I'm a Mounds guy. I like Mounds. The dark chocolate with coconut. I'm trying to look. I only have limited things that I can talk about because I can't see it. So DJT down 171. My daughter bought a couple of hundred chips of DJT at 32. I told her to sell it at 42 if it gets there.
Do you communicate with Kash Patel?
No, but I wish I did. I can get to what's his name? I can get to Kennedy. I have an attorney that was in his class and communicates with them. But I think we're way down the road. Nunez knows about it. You know, I know the people that are talking to him, and DJT squeezes at 40.25. I had it at 40.50. It's come down a little bit. So that's the short squeeze trigger number on all their shares. It's 2 billion, but I'll be nice and cut it in half and say it's 1 billion. Cut it in half again, make it 500 million. How are they going to cover it? It's going to be $500, that stock. And Trump is worth $6 billion. 4 of it comes from DJT. There's no way he's not going to force the issue. But someone said nothing's going to happen until January 20th. I don't believe that. Trump has to make noise now before it gets there. Otherwise, it looks like he's helping his own company. He has every right to, but to fight the Democrats from throwing shit at them, he's got to say it now.
Where does the money go from the fines that the SEC charges?
That's a good question. They don't pay out whistleblowers, that's for sure. They say they do. We can't blow any louder. William actually put a photo up and tell them to pay you. You ever get any of that money?
No.
But VIRT, I talked about that. I think the brokerage stocks are going to get a cut in half also. So if I was running money, I'd be buying cheap puts on all the brokerage stocks. They've all moved up enormous, including Interactive Brokers. They all do the same thing. William, I put up this morning. I told you about Citi. I didn't tell you that. On FINRA, I told you FINRA was on Citi. They got fined for not enforcing margin calls. They were letting people run crazy. They got busted for that. Another company got busted. What did they get busted for? They did 28 billion shares that they didn't put in the CAT system. Some firm out of Chicago. 28 billion shares. Now hiding from the SEC. How did they let this go on? This isn't going on for a week, it's years. All the SEC has to do is knock on the door. If you get caught, whoever's in this department's going to jail. Who's in charge? You are? You do something wrong, you're going to jail. End the conversation. You want to take this job, there's no liability with it. You can't have this stuff going on. It's the Wild West. Everybody on this phone, your financial future is at stake of it imploding at any time. All the money you put in your pension accounts, all that stuff, you can get wiped out, lose 50% of it in a second. So it took you 5 years to make that. You can lose it in 10 minutes. That's how fast they go when they go down. Look at finger motion. It went from 270 to 205. How fast? Fast. Imagine the Dow dropping like that fast. And it does happen. We all watched it. I used to have a photo when of a Quotron, or I had a plaque that we bought during the crash in I forget what year, 97 maybe. Where on my screen, Chevron was down 30, IBM was down 25, Microsoft down 30. And these are stocks that were 100, down $30 and $40. All of them. At the same time. And the leverage and the extent of the looting and these guys doing all the damage, you're kicking away the support. Eventually it's going to collapse. They just can't keep printing money. Just can't keep doing it, man. XRP, $2.36. People, if you buy the dip in XRP and it runs up 30 cents, sell half. Pulls back, you buy it, runs up, sell half. Sooner or later, if you do it 10 times, you'll own it for free. All right, William, I don't think we have anything else here.
Seems very quiet. It's Christmas week.
I'm glad you took care of your doctor's appointments and get your eye surgery. I told you I'll come down if you need me to take you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll get there and back.
Good, because I didn't really want to come down.
I knew it.
I had to offer. I had to sound like a good guy. But to everyone out there saying, nah, let him go by himself. Don't worry about it. Nah, seriously, if you need me, I would come down.
I know you would. I'll be all right.
All right, everybody. Nothing more I can say. Just another stupid day. And just here.
Okay.
For a while, we documented all the information's there. Read about the company. Watch the CEO. Everything's right there for us. We don't have any secret sauce. The company's been doing the right thing, so we stick with them. And if I get those 2 meetings I'm trying to set up with the guy who was the former CEO of DJT and the guy Ryan Cohen, I will let you know. I'm trying every angle I can.
Okay.
All right. All right, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So right now I forgot the gentleman's name, but I want to go just quickly show you guys about the CEO. Okay, let me make sure. I think you're seeing this. On July 11th, Compensation Committee awarded 250,000 shares to Granger Whitlaw, Chief Executive Officer. 250,000 shares of Nixxy. Well, it was recruiter.com. See the name? Recruiter.com, Granger Whitlaw. And this was done July 16th, 2024. I would submit to you that Granger Whitlaw decided not to go with recruiter.com because he's getting a 250,000 shares of Nixxy. That's why he stuck around. It's not because he has any great insight into Nixxy's new chosen field of business. He just wanted a payday. Now, if we go here and we write, I can't do it that. Go to Yahoo Finance and we do recruiter.com. No, it's not there anymore. Let's just spell it out. Recruiter. I don't know how to find this news. Let's just find the news. Recruiter. GoLogic. Reverse merger. Okay, so on July 6, 2023, it's just tedious to go through, but I guess you got to know. Under the terms of the agreement, Recruiter.com, a recruiting solutions provider, has defined a definitive agreement for the purchase of the fintech assets of GoLogic. Under the terms, Recruiter will acquire CreateApp, PayLogic, AtTosGo, and Radix. GoLogic will receive stock equal to 84% of Recruiter.com, with existing Recruiter stockholders maintaining 16%. Combined value $105 million. We are thrilled to announce this, said Evan Son, CEO of Recruiter.com. Anyway, I don't see in here what happens to Granger Whitlaw. And let's look them up. Okay, Recruiter. Mr. Whitlaw served as the company's CEO since March 2024. Prior to that, Mr. Whitlaw was appointed as director of GoLogic, currently based in Vietnam, because that's where GoLogic was. Mr. Whitlaw is a serial entrepreneur who has built many businesses in media, aviation, racing, software technology, real estate. He's raised money. His strengths are strategy, sales, marketing, M&A, governance, corporate development. So he was the CEO of Nixxy since March, and he gets 250,000 shares. Nixxy is this company, just got to have it. And here's that what they do, this kind of trading. Here's the team, and what's his name? Granger Whitlaw has nothing to do with this team. It's all women. I don't see any men. It's kind of cool. It's a female firm. Anyway, I'm bored with the topic. It's a non-event. He got rich, and he wanted his shares before he left. It seems that Martin Shen never delivers, or he never does lives. I'm not going to answer that. I think Martin has delivered time and time again. It's a difficult task he has to get away from the short sellers like yourself. But the story's not written. It's not over, and I think he's delivered quite a bit. But if you're talking about stock price, you had a chance to get out of finger at 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. If you're such a great critic of the market, why haven't you traded it better? Or are you just a dumbbell? I guess you're just a dumbbell. I think Fisherman Ape, it's because of their the talk. They jawboned that next year they're not cutting rates very much, half a percentage point at the most. I think inflation is not done. So I think the market is starting to recalculate their earnings. It'll affect the high tech stocks if interest rates go up. So the market wants to hear about lower interest rates, and they didn't hear that. They expected, the market already priced in a 0.25% cut. I think we're counting on hearing that next year they'd get another full point or even 2 points. So it's just digestion. The stock market is going, in my judgment, is going to go up like a rocket, and then it's all over. You're going to stop talking about the market. You're not even going to want to be in it. But stocks, you will be. You will want to be in stocks. Julian, I think XRP probably is a time to buy when it pulls back. I'm not sure I'd go in 100% on what you want to buy, but certainly it's better to buy it now than it was as it was going straight up. I don't know. If you want to own one thing, the one beer to have when you're having more than one, just go buy silver. Silver is not, it's a lot like rail. Silver is not going to be under $40 very much longer. And then it'll be 90, and then it'll be 300. And you're going to wonder why you even listened to anybody about XRP. We can't get Trump in soon enough. Well, Trump's not going to change the market. I don't see it. Maybe, but I don't see it. Yeah, there might be some desperation on the side of the crooks. Do you think the last day? I don't know. I mean, you're telling me Trump's going to change everything. We'll see. We'll see. The banks control Congress. Look at what the Democrats are gearing up to do. The banks control Ann Wagner. The banks control the brokerage firms. The banks control the regulators, if I didn't say that. I don't know. This comment, many stocks. Look, you could have sold Finger at 270. Stocks do not go straight up. You're not missing something. I've given you two ideas recently. I'm not sure there's always going to be great ideas out there, but you could have sold, for example, you're stuck in finger motion. You don't notice that Chinese stocks have been under pressure. You don't notice that the stock chart looks a little bit soft, although I now think the finger chart looks good. But you didn't notice over the last year that the stock has kind of been under control. You couldn't pick up on any of that. I get it. But I'm trying to remember, maybe 6 weeks ago, maybe sooner than that. I think I did a video just emphasizing Nixxy.com. And I think the stock was 240 and 230 even. And I don't know. I did my best to pound the table on it. And it doubled. A little more than doubled. And then I, not really for nothing, I just felt like there wasn't much time left in the year for that, whatever was going on. And I showed you what they're acquiring. It's not like the next rocket ship going to Mars, but it's a great business, and it's going to benefit and grow from this AI. But anyway, I backed off a little bit. You doubled your money. You could have sold half your finger, bought Nixxy. It's up 100%. Sold your Nixxy and bought back your finger and had cash in your pocket. But you just want to wait. It's okay. It's a strategy. But I gave you a story that you could have gotten into that had just as much squeeze potential as finger currently, in my view. Then I gave you this one rail. I don't know. I think it was 26 cents. It might have been 24 cents. It's now 37 cents, I think. I still think you could make a swap there. And you had a chance to get out of finger at 270, but you're scared to miss out on the squeeze. I know, I've gone through it. I went through it with GTII and finger 2 years ago or a year ago. But you can take some of it. You can trade some. And then you don't have to sell your whole finger position. And I'm not telling you to sell it now. I think finger looks strong right now. But you can trade on the margin, make a little bit, come back. You don't have to sit and do nothing. Somebody else mentioned I can't remember the question. I went over the Nixxy. I don't think it's a big deal that he stepped down. That CEO was not going to be in charge of recruiter, and then anyway, I just think he got lucky. He got the luckiest allocation of stock in his lifetime. I think that 250 million shares is going to be 250,000 shares is going to be worth $20 a share. So he's going to be a wealthy guy. Just because he floats and flits and fleets and flights, and good for him. You got to hit after doing so many things. You got to hit it sometime. Good. I'm glad you have RLAIF rail. Anyway, I can't. There was another question. I can't remember. I think this is the beginning of a downturn. Liquidity is drying up. The Dow will be down for 10 days straight. It hasn't happened for many years. Beginning of something worse. I don't agree with you. If the Dow Jones keeps going down, makes finger motion keep going down, makes us look like monkey. I don't know. Guys, you got to have a basic thesis that you're operating within. You can't make your investments off of headlines. I don't think the Dow shouldn't be this high right now anyway. The reason the Dow is high is because of monkeys running your investment portfolios. They copy each other. So when they go to Mrs. Tanaki next year, they can say, Mrs. Tanaki, our portfolio is in the top 20% of all portfolios, because they're competing with each other. They got to have the same crap. They got to perform in the same way so they can get their fees. That's not over with yet. It will be. There's a lot of money in the NVIDIAs of the world. I'm sure there's a lot of money out of the Ukraine and Russia, maybe, but out of the Middle East coming in the U.S. market. It's all things that aren't in the headlines. And somebody told me yesterday or today that on a retail level, retail is fully invested in the stock market. But that's what the headlines are saying. But that's not totally true. When retail invests in the stock market, they buy their brokers, wealth advisors, tell them to buy ETFs, tell them to buy managed money, tell them to buy a mutual fund. Well, those funds and fund managers and ETFs have cash. And those people are going to put that cash to work. And I'm sorry, I think the stock market, the Dow right now is 42,000. I think it'll be 60,000. And then you're going to be telling me that it's going to go to 100,000. I don't think you're calling it correctly. But I'm not saying you're wrong. I can be wrong. Yeah, I think David's right about that. Stocks that are shorted might start rallying. Um, look, Nix is back at 5. Guys, um, I'd like to see. Well, we'll see. I think Nix is going to form a head and shoulder pattern, but I guess it's this shoulder, the left shoulder, will be higher than the first shoulder. So I think it'll end up being a bullish pattern, but I wouldn't be surprised if the stock rallies a bit before it goes down. On the other hand, it could go back to 3 something. Guys, we're in tax loss season. We're end of the year. Wealth advisors are going to look at the accounts, tell you to sell the stock, and come into the Merrill Lynch 2025 Real Estate Plus Bus Trust Fund. Gives you 8% yield and an equity kicker, or it'll be the Merrill Lynch AI quantum computing Milan managed mutual fund that you gotta have it. It's going to be a lot of push to sell some of these things out. I hope Nixxy goes straight up from here, but I still stick by my guns. I think Nixxy had a run. It needs a period of cooling off. And I just don't think anything's going to happen with Nixxy until next year. That's my call. It had its run. It had its breakout for Christmas time. I could be wrong. On the other hand, I see rail breaking in on a breakout. Today it's down a little bit, which I think is great for people to add to position. But it's always the same. Oh, it's down. It's something wrong. The CEO resigned. You got to stop it. Have a theory that's going on. And if you believe in it, pullbacks are for buying. Rallies maybe are for selling on the margin. And eventually one of these things will take off. I think Railtown. I mean, if I had money right now, I'd be buying Railtown at 37 cents. Nixxy, I think I want to buy more, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind it going down a little bit further. I'm not going to chase it at $5. I'll just hang on and see what happens. Now, if nothing happens between now and year end, I reserve the right to change my mind on what price to buy it. But I'd like to see all of these stocks. Somebody asked me about Logic. That's the question. Somebody asked me about Logic. Here it is. Logic down to 0.012 on low volume. Any way to get legal update from Brent? I doubt it. If it goes into 2025, will it slow down for an updated financial audit? Possibly. I'm in at 0.04, buy more. Yes, I would say, I can't give you specific advice, but I would say Logic will probably, it's very low. It'll probably go lower over the next 2 weeks. Why? Tax loss selling, shorts, counterfeit, and real selling. Logic remains a company that has to perform on its acquisition, its stated acquisition of companies. And I do agree with your analysis that if it gets into next year, it will have to do another financial audit. So it could go lower over the next 2 weeks. But having said that, I think those would be good prices to average down. It's not going to stay down forever, but it could be some months. I'm starting to think it's going to be until July. But I don't, we'll see what's going on. I'm still waiting to find out what's going on. What are your thoughts on Trump not saying something about naked shorts, assuming he's afraid the markets will tank on his watch? Look, I think there's zero intention to solve the so-called naked shorting issue. You got Iran. He's told Bibi Netanyahu to go ethnically cleanse Gaza Strip, take over as much of Lebanon and Syria as you can, create greater Israel while you can, because then he's going to shut it down. He's got trade wars. I don't think it's high on his list. I think the smartest thing from Trump's standpoint would be to look at the micro caps and the small companies, the American dream, make America great again. Do it in the stocks under $1 billion, roughly. Don't set a specific number because they'll swarm all over that. But under the $1 billion, $1.5 billion, $2 billion, make it a floating number. And if he did that, I don't think it would tank the market. I think it would make the stocks go up. The guys, I don't know how many times do I have to talk about it before it sinks in. Ken Griffin, who apparently is not Jewish, or he may be Jewish. Jewish guys at the top of these big fund managers and brokerage firms seem to all work with each other. Is it because they're Jewish? Probably not, because it's one of the greatest Abrahamic faiths out there, and most of them are honest men. Is it because they went to the same schools? I don't know. Is it because they worked at Goldman Sachs together? I don't know. There's something about this group of men that works together. I don't know what it is. They're white men. They're all in their 50s and 60s. They all manage a shitload of money. They all bribed Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. They can't bribe Trump. I don't know what it is, but they have the markets for 20-some years. They've changed, and I've gone through it. They've changed the rules in the markets. They've changed how the markets work. They constantly push the boundaries, just like Netanyahu does. Every time the world gets distracted by how many guys one girl is sleeping with in a day, he takes new settlements, new land, and immediately the bulldozers are out there to build settlements. While no one's looking, he claims more. While no one's looking in these markets, the markets are going up. They all work together, and they get the Fed to print more money and the Treasury to borrow more money, and then the market's going up, and they're just claiming more and more and more assets under management. They claim more regulators. They claim more brokerage firms. They claim more assets to manipulate with. Now they're on housing. Next they'll be on Ukrainian farmland. Where does it stop? I don't know. But I'll tell you this, it's under control. They have it under control. I don't expect any miracles. The head of Goldman Sachs can call the head of the SEC and call the head of SAC and say, hey, what do we got to do something here. They can call the head of the DTC. The bankers control it all. It's all under control. And I'm sure there's a lot of Irish Catholic guys in there too. Don't expect miracles when Donald Trump becomes president. Don't expect it. But where it could happen is in some of these smaller stocks. Don't be frozen. I mean, look, I know I'm in your situation. You know, I've got about, you know, £2 to scrap together. But I do have my position in Logic, which is underwater and can't really do much about. I have my IRA. I have a couple small trading, but you know, I got devastated. I don't come on here and go because it happened. You know, I don't hear from most of these people, and I can hear my voice. I haven't eaten all day. I'm not trying to complain, but I don't hear from these complainers. When stocks go up, I don't hear, "Oh, great, we made money." But you know, when you plunk down some investment capital and you're trying to get 100-to-1 return, you don't think there's any risk in that trade? You think it's a sure thing? What do you when you put money down on a trade, what are you giving up in terms of, unless you have inside information? I think you're giving up time. I think you're giving up time. Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't. I just don't know. I I just don't want to explain it again. I've spent 2 or 3 years explaining it, and it never sinks in. I don't think it's because you're stupid. I mean, you seem to be in oil and gas. It took me 20 years to even understand the little bit I do understand. So it's just the resistance to understanding a new language, a new regime, all that. It's just impossible to get it. It's a failing on my part to teach you what's going on. But these guys cheat. They trade on insider information. Steve Cohen, in my opinion, is a criminal, but he gets away with it. Why? Because he has a massive amount of money under management, and he keeps everything at arm's length. He has lawyers out the wazoo. He pays off Ann Wagner. He pays off Hillary Clinton. He pays off the regulators, and he buys Juan Soto. He broke the heart of a professor, I think in Michigan, on a biotech company that he destroyed. But he does it arm's length. He can sleep at night. He's a bloody genius. He's just a cheater. Ken Griffin is a cheater. Lloyd Blankenfield, or whoever runs Goldman Sachs, is a cheater. And you can multiply it. It's every single one of these guys. I don't know of a woman other than the head of Fidelity is a woman, and I think she inherited it. Or the largest owner of Fidelity, or something like that. And then the Blythe Masters out of the UK came up with an idea that everyone does, and JP Morgan had to buy out, which allows essentially paper trading and shorting silver at a massive scale. But otherwise, it's all men that have a connection with each other. They trust each other. They speak the same language. They maybe they're wary competitors, but they also understand that Jamie Dimon has the list of judges in his pocket, so we should meet up in New York and we should sit down and we'll stop the interscene warfare and we'll work together. Let's buy Hillary. Let's buy Joe. Let's buy Janet. Let's buy Bernanke. Let's buy them up. Let's manipulate them. Let's put Adina Friedman in charge of NASDAQ. She'll get excited to be the fifth most powerful woman. We'll pay her $30 million a year. Great. Let's put her there. Let's put this overweight guy that doesn't know anything, but we'll put him in charge of FINRA, Robert Cook. But you still think that regulations are going to work? The SEC doesn't care about microcaps, over the counter. These bankers put through the so-called Merrill Lynch rule. Why did they do that? So that in small cap stocks, there's no buyers. There's as soon as an account transfers to Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley, the so-called wealth manager, just glorified insurance agents as far as I can tell, no knowledge of anything other than let's give it to this manager so I can collect my 2% per annum on the assets under management. They tell you to sell. So they tell you to sell the stocks. There's sellers, there's no buyers, there's no research, there's nothing on these stocks. And then a guy like Stevie Cohen will call up Kurt Kramer and say, hey, my friend at church told me that you are in the business. I'd like you to come by. I've got something to show you. No, I'm not going to be there, but meet Vinny over in whatever, and he's got an interesting proposition. The last time you're going to talk to me, if you decide to do what he does, work through burner phones. He'll teach you how to communicate on WhatsApp, but now we can't do that. So you communicate with your bid and ask on trading, but never call me again. I just wanted you to know I'm behind it. And then he throws that phone away. And then Joey and Vinny say to Kurt Kramer, here, you're a knucklehead. You don't have a brain in between your ears. But here's the strategy. You go get CEOs to sign notes like this. We'll help Nussbaum, your legal team, the man and daughter. We'll teach them how to do it. Get the CEO to sign this. We'll provide the money. Start shorting the stock. We'll make sure that you're always backed up. And if you ever get in trouble, we'll move that position over to Alpine. And we're going to back it up every step of the way. You're just not going to see us. But don't rat on us. Don't be stupid. Just go get the lambs for slaughter. That's what they do. And you think regulations are going to change that? There's not a regulation in the world that's going to change that. The SEC, whoever Trump appoints, will be aggressively moving forward on his agenda for crypto. I don't see him diving into over-the-counter stocks or micro caps. It's just how I see it. Let's see what the questions are. Does anyone know who gonna cover finger shorts? Now I'm starting to think you're just an AI bot, but anyway, who gonna cover finger shorts when or if it goes? Well, if we knew that, do you think it would be out in the open? Ann Wagner doesn't want transparency because she reads a note from Goldman Sachs lawyers and attorneys, and she reads it out. It's going to be a violation of privacy. Every time you walk in the airport, your face is screened. Every time you make a cell phone call, it's recorded. Every time you spend money, it's recorded. All of it. There is no privacy anymore. But she's defending your privacy? Come on. Ann Wagner. Finger motion benchmark introduced Martin Shen to Jeffrey Easton at Lynn Partners. So the players there are Jeffrey Easton, Philip Vallier, Hai Lee Kim, and Sam Chung. And there's a sidekick called John Hancock. According to information that I believe, Jeffrey Easton has 4 hedge funds who back him. My guess is it's related to the Ansem funds out of Canada because Philip Vallier is from Toronto, I believe. So the initial sellers of Finger were those hedge funds. At least one of them. I don't know the name of those hedge funds. I don't know the name, so I can't gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you who it is because I don't know. I do believe, because I saw it real time on the FINRA website, 100 million shares were sold of Finger, driving it down from 7, 8 or so down to under $1 very quickly. And it was under the Reg Show exemption. I've never seen it covered. I've never seen it bought back. There's a guy from the Amex that says, you don't know, they bought it back, guy, that number's not that big. He may know something I don't know. He may. I'm tired of it. But I think Finger Motion is under control, just like GameStop and AMC, for the time being. But if Finger Motion has the success I've described before, starts trading at $3, $4, and stays there, and maybe gets to $6 or $7, then you start seeing stress on whoever has put the unsettled trades out there, and the fees and the margin calls and the lending costs and all that. And then the tide will go out, and we'll see who's swimming naked. And then I'm gonna be able to answer your question, but until then, I don't know. DJI headed for 900. Oh, after it runs up and pulls back, maybe. That's my call. I think we're going to come back to 1 or 2,000 on the Dow. I'm going to the extreme so you hear it, because extremes stick out. But if it only goes down to 5,000, I'll consider my call accurate, or 7,000. NDQ down, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's because my brain isn't working. Oh, NASDAQ is down. Yeah, the NASDAQ is down 643 points. Look, the Dow's down 1,000. That's what you were telling me. The Dow is down 1,000. Yeah, they didn't like what Mumbles said in front of the Fed. Look, everyone wants the interest rates lower, but inflation is strong. I don't. I'm sorry, I'm being impatient. People believe the Fed controls the bond market. It doesn't. It doesn't. For a long time, there's been an illusion that the Fed has it under control. All the Fed really controls is the overnight rate. And the drug addicts that are your money managers want lower interest rates. And what he said today, I haven't even heard it, but I read the top two headlines. What he said, only 50 basis points next year. That's it? That's it? What happened to the 200 that it was going to go down next year? That's why the markets are selling off. Doesn't matter. It's noise. It's noise. Donald Trump, I know a lot of you hate him. Women let him grab them by their private parts, whereas Joe Biden forcibly enters women's private parts without permission, but he's a good guy. It doesn't matter. I know you hate Trump. I got it. But the one thing Trump offers is if he can get our economy structurally changed. From Ronald Reagan to Bill Clinton, the best Republican president we ever had was Bill Clinton. But starting with Ronald Reagan, we granted China a protection as a developing nation. We started sending our patents, our technology, our secrets, our students, or our information from our schools, everything. We started sending it to China. Why? Because it made the bankers rich. It was good for bankers. So now we have a country whose manufacturing capacity is bombs. We can't build tanks. Our tanks are built in Turkey and somewhere else. Our automobiles are built in Mexico. China has 60% of the world's auto manufacturing business. How? They copied our systems. And we let them do it because we thought we'd make money. We're just financial now. That's all we are. We're top heavy with guys that turn anything that has a price on it into a bet. Which cockroach is going to crawl across the kitchen floor more quickly? They'll create a derivative on it. And they'll do it on everything. And that's our country now. Our country is corrupt pharmaceutical companies, because if they can get people to 100 million people to take something, it's a lot of money. It's corrupt media controlled by BlackRock, Larry Flink. It's a military industrial complex or defense contractors, at least part of whom have gone astray, launched a war. We're bombing Russia. Thank God Putin's there so far, but we're bombing Russia. Does that make sense? Well, I'll tell you one thing. It helps Larry Blink up at BlackRock. He now owns apparently 40 to 60% of the breadbasket of Europe in the Ukraine. Who's going to, Jared Kushner said about Gaza Strip, boy, this is some nice beachfront property. We could make a lot of money here. Who's going to control the redevelopment of the condos in Gaza Strip? The Palestinians? No, they're going to be ethnically cleansed. They're already gone. Haaretz, an Israeli newspaper, says there's 48,000 Palestinians killed. Who's going to develop the oil off the coast of Gaza Strip? Not the Palestinians. It'll be Israel. But who's going to be in the lead on all that? American money with Israeli money. Our war machine helps the bankers currently. Now, I mean no disrespect, because the people that I admire the most are American servicemen, and that's because, very simply, my uncles served, my dad served, and I lived abroad. There's nothing that filled me with more pride than walking in a United States embassy with the Marine Guard standing there. So I'm not. It's just it's the contractors. Then we have a corrupt government. The government is tied to all this industry and to journalism. That's fascism, my friends. That's fascism. Democratic Party is corrupt. The reason they don't have anybody from Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, down all the way down to AOC, no one wants to be part of it. They don't have a message. They have John F. Kennedy's message. That dog don't hunt anymore. I mean, it's a good message, but that's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. So the United States, to get off our butt, we have to get back to our ideals, and we have to structurally. The other area that's ruined is our big agriculture. The food we eat is bad for us, but it makes money for big agriculture. We need to have structural change, and we have no choice. We have no choice. All the just-in-time delivery systems around the world are broken up. We are in World War III. We are in it. Those drones apparently going around New Jersey, they mean something. Something's going on. Our borders are wide open. You don't think China or Iran are at war with us? Anyway, to make the markets work again, we have to have structural change, not more Fed interference. That's really what I'm trying to say. In the meantime, there's a book I'm going to get. The market just closed. There's a book I'm going to get to read. There's two of them. One, that was supposedly really good to read. The other one's boring. But I'm going to read them both about the Weimar Republic. And that's why I've been saying it for a long time. The Dow is going to go to 60,000 if I'm off a bit. But you shouldn't be there. As it goes up, you should be positioning that paper wealth in silver, in gold, in oil and gas assets. Jim Rickards, I was reading the other day, fine art. I'd be careful with fine art because I think your definition of fine art and my definition of fine art, you go find something you like for 10 grand, that might not survive. I think somebody told me at a dinner party once, I think in London, a while ago, you have to spend 100 grand or more on art for it to be really an investment hedge. But land, things you know how to do. A plumbing business, a veterinarian business, you know that. Invest in that. But when the market corrects, it's going to change your life for a generation. It's gonna be completely different. It's not the regulations, it's the regulators. They can put up a law that if you jump up. Well, that's true. And partly what goes on, I agree with you. Partly what goes on is these guys, and it's a terrible analogy because I don't mean it as a morality measure, but to me, it's very much like the hardline Israelis, represented most by the war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. They've been doing this since they came up with the term "a land with no people for a people with no land." Well, how does he now justify that for Greater Israel, which you can look at his maps, run from Egypt to Iraq and down into Saudi Arabia? Because it's all meaningless. It's just arguments in the minute that he wins, and then he distracts people, but his push is constantly ever outward. And he's 60 or 70 years old. He's been on this campaign since his early 20s, and it's just, they're now saying that Palestinians can have a homeland in Jordan. That's what that fat F-U-C-K Ben Sharon said. You never saw it on TV here. I saw it in London. Well, he was invading, doing something in Iran. They have a homeland. It's called Jordan. So Israel's getting breathing space, living space, much like Germany needed living space when they annexed the Czech lands and Austria. What's the difference? But anyway, I get off on it. It really angers me and it scares me, and it's morally, we look back with our certainty about what happened in Europe 100 years ago, or almost, or 200 years ago here, and we think, well, we're so liberal, we're so good. But here, right in front of us, evil is being committed. But anyway, I can't win that argument. Certainly can't win it with conservatives. My point is, that those kind of people with that same focus, that same commitment, different, not land and settlements, but making money, have, and it's represented by Bill Clinton when he said what's the, depends on your definition of is. It's the legal business, it's the regulatory business, but it's the banking business and accounting. I'm sure they just keep pushing the boundary. And you're right, there's regulations, but then there's the non-enforcement. So they keep pushing. And then I remember that one guy, can't remember his name right now. He came across our squawk box. We helped raise his first money under management, and now he's one of the big pools of money. I can't think of it right now. But now that they have all this money concentrated, 10 trillion, 12 trillion, they control the government. So you're right, it's the regulations, but it's the regulators. It really is that we vote because we hate Trump. We don't, I don't know. We're not holding Congress accountable. And journalism here in the United States is a joke. There is no journalism except what you can find on YouTube or alternative media. What's happening to NVIDIA? I don't see. It's not down that much. I don't see much. Trump coming in soon, so it's time for clowns to let the market go. Could be. I don't think Trump's going to do much. The SPY has been dumping. Yeah. Stress in the market should be good. Yes, Peter, I think it's going to be. Look, my argument, ignore regulations, ignore Trump, ignore all of it. Interest rates are high, for example. Banks are in trouble. As they lose money, that's the only language they understand. It's the only language. They lose money, they cover. They buy back. That's my GameStop is dumping hard. Yeah, I don't know. Let me look. I can tell I'm behind a little bit. Yeah, it's down to 28. I'm not, it's not about attaboy. It's just that sometimes I give you guys good ideas and good advice. It was staring in your face. Swap GameStop for DJT. Get DJT. But I bet DJT's down today. Let's see. Yeah, it's down a little bit. It's 35. But you could have swapped GME when it was like 32, 33 for DJT at 29. And if I'm off, I'm not trying to exaggerate. It's something like that. You could have swapped 1 for 1 and taken cash off. You'd still be okay. DJT is going to go a lot higher. GameStop's a bouncing ball. They get it. That goofball comes out. He says, Rory Kitty. And it goes up, and they take some cash from you. And then it goes down again. Well, now that's a good point, Mad Max. The banks are in control until they're not. That's a good point. When it gets out of control, you're going to see a bank go down. You're going to see buy-ins, and the other gentleman's correct, Peter Sachs. It'll be good for our stocks. I really think the next crisis in the market is going to be answered by the Fed expanding its balance sheet. I don't know, it could go to 30, 40, even $50 trillion. to save the whole world. And the United States clearly will have to start spending to save the world. And we could go to 50 easily trillion in debt that we talk about. Easily. It could go as high as 75 or 100 trillion. But we'll do it. It'll just be fait accompli. Voters will not give permission for that. Voters will not give permission to bail out banks. And I think regulations, nationalization of the banks could happen. I really think there'll be hearings, but maybe it'll just be one more time they get away with it. But we're getting very close to the French Revolution, where, there were pitchforks in the street. If 3 other countries ban short selling, I don't know, guys. You don't even understand short selling. You think you do, but you really don't. I think I do, and I don't understand all the mechanisms of it. There's a guy on Junk Savvy's calls. He goes by 100%. He knows it, and he starts talking, and you go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize they could issue 1 share in Chicago, and then in Frankfurt they can start trading it, even though it's a private company that doesn't trade." And this is why I think they need to stay away from Johnny Tobacco. I'm not picking on Johnny Tobacco. I'm just saying, don't take his advice. We don't understand. We do not understand short selling. Criminal. We call it short selling. It's not short selling. It's operating with a bunch of lawyers that lie, operating with regulators that look the other way, in markets that are run by Adina Friedman, who couldn't care as long as she can be the most powerful woman, 5th most powerful woman on Wall Street. She didn't do anything to get where she is that I know about. That's hard work anyway. Maybe she had to hang out with some older men with halitosis in some compromised positions. I don't know. But they've corrupted the markets, and the markets are going to remain corrupt. It's not the short selling per se, the real. And when we call it naked, what we're talking about is all sorts of activities which are basically not locating the stock before they sell, which has to be done in writing, not borrowing the stock before they sell, which has to be done in writing, owning the stock, which has to be done in writing, and the lawyers that lie to the prime dealers like Nussbaum and whoever does it for Jeffrey Sleason, is even that is illegal. That's 6 months from now. It's all sorts of little. I'm telling you, it's a lot like the right-wing Israelis. Every time you look the other way, a little more Palestinian land is taken. Oh, they're terrorists. This is our land because it's in the Bible. Something happens in Ukraine, whoosh, some bombs, some invasion, a wall goes up. Always ready for some more settlements. Because I looked it up. God promised Abraham that his descendants would multiply and populate the world, and his descendants would get Israel, whatever Israel is. Israel might be an idea. But his descendants are, by definition, they're everyone in the world. They're Jews, of course, but even Jews are all broken up in different ways. They're Christians, all broken up in different iterations. Muslim, all broken up in different iterations. Atheists, and all the other religions. I don't buy it. But anyway, I get off track. Every time we're not paying attention, he takes more. But then no one with balls says, hey, Netanyahu, give that back. So he gets away with it. That's what happens in our criminal financial system. Every time Gary Gensler doesn't enforce settlement, they do it again and again and again. And that's what concentrates wealth. And every time the too big to fail banks collapse and they come to Congress, we bail them out. So they'll do it again. Banning short selling. How do you define that? No short selling at all? I'm all for that. But Trump's not going to do that. I really think what you have to do is, Ham doesn't agree with me. I think you have to break it down into the micro and small cap area. Focus on that. Let the big boys duke it out amongst themselves. I think that's true. If he wants to change the America structurally, like I said, you're going to need companies like MMAT, MULM, Root, all the ones that have been destroyed. You're going to need them to have vibrant, honest markets. And I think you're right about that. That's the place to start. Trump is not going to do anything. I voted for the Green Party. Two-party duopoly and corporate state. Well, I voted for Trump the first time around for two reasons. I was sitting on a yacht in, I think it was Monaco, with a very dear friend of mine and client, a brother who I haven't spoken with for a while, but I admire very much. We're sitting at a long table, a bunch of people, some hot chicks, with some of the younger men. But of course, I'm there. I might have had a cigar. I don't think I did. But they were smoking cigars. I don't smoke them anymore, but I remember the smell of it. And we were talking the presidential politics because, when girls are around, I talk politics. And Hillary was running, and I said, I'm going to vote for Jill Stein. And my friend, my good guy, he said, I don't understand. Why are you voting for the Green Party? It sounds like you should vote for Donald Trump. And so I flew home thinking about that. I said, wow, that's out of left field, but let me think about that. And then I landed and I turned on I think I was in London. I turned on the TV in my hotel room. And I heard Hillary Clinton call my friends despicable. What was the word? Disreputable. Basket of deplorables. And my friends. And I made the decision right then and there. I was going to vote for Donald Trump. And I did. And I voted for him last time and I voted for him this time. We have a two-party system. We don't have a multi-party system. So I think voting for a third party doesn't help. I actually think Donald Trump has created a new Republican Party. The reason Republicans like Liz Cheney commit felonies, in my judgment, and break the law to trap him is because he is anti-Republican, as Mitch McConnell's party. He's anti Dick Cheney's party. He's anti-Bush Republican Party. So I really think the Uniparty, the Democrats and the Republicans, are all on Hillary's side. And what Donald Trump has created is a new party. It's called Republican, but I think it's a new party. And I think he has a chance to truly remake America, make us great again. Successful economy. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Obama didn't put a single banker in jail. Obama didn't protect any homes. None. Zero. I voted for Obama twice. Of course they are, John. They also want you to panic, but the one thing about Finger is you know the story, but it's also tax loss selling. Nobody's going to be around come Friday. For a week, for 10 days, all of these stocks are going to be under pressure. I think except rail. I know I'm stepping out on the ledge with rail. The difference I see with rail is the stock chart and the fact that the company, I think, has entered into, let me put it in simple terms. The R&D phase is the long sideways movement that goes up a bit. And then the initial acquisition of customers and customer awareness and proof of concept and a new, a huge new product, that's the hockey stick. And I think that's what I see the potential anyway for rail is it's a lot like oil and gas companies. It's all of a sudden you get this valid movement up. I'm not talking short squeeze. I'm not talking day trading, any of that. Swing trading, that's the word. I'm talking about an analyst somewhere looking at rail and saying, wait a minute, this product is ready to go and it does what? And the market is X size and you can claim, I don't know, making it up 10 or 20% of that in a heartbeat. You shouldn't be trading for a market cap of 51 million. You should be trading for a market cap. I'm making it up. I have no information. You should be trading for a market cap of $500 million or whatever. If you're a VC firm, you're going to do that to get the business, but an analyst will do that. Anyway. So I think rail and silver, by the way, those are two investments that could surprise in the last 2 weeks of the year. But I think a lot of these stocks are going to be sideways to down, while the geniuses that run your money, they don't want to touch it very much because they want to finish the year in with the rest of them so they can charge you fees and they can raise money next year. The markets, I would just take a break from the markets and go enjoy the holidays, except for tax loss selling or buying stocks for a January bounce. Or the two things I would do to my portfolio in the next 2 weeks is buy rail and buy silver. I like PS71's idea of a stock like Logic, which looks like it's, forgotten about. Why not buy it while it's down? If I can't give specific advice, as long as you realize all of these things are speculative, and if it fits in your own decision of what your portfolio should be. I like buying Finger if it's down at $2. I think Finger, John, just to repeat myself, I think Finger's going to announce their third quarter earnings. They could be good, but I think it's going to be come see, come saw. But I think it'll be the management discussion that could be exciting. I also think Finger breaking up with Univest is good because they might bring in some clean financing. We've been hearing whispers about some news on revenue. I don't know if it's growing this one deal they have or something else, but I have no information on that, but it's out there enough that maybe. And I had one more thing on Finger on that. Anyway, I think that's my third quarter view on Finger. Possible, mediocre earnings, but watch the discussion. Maybe a money raise, maybe some news, and what did I leave out? Anyway, I'm getting tired. But what's exciting about Finger is we come around into the new year, we start talking about the fourth quarter and full year numbers. I think you could see fourth quarter turn positive on earnings. Now, that might not be enough to make their 2025, their last year, exciting, but you read about why did it turn positive. And then all of a sudden, their 2026, which is our 2025, all of a sudden that has growing revenue, growing cash flow, positive earnings, which are growing. And maybe, just maybe, they can define which area of their business is doing it. Finger can suddenly be a $3, $4, $5, $6 stock. Now, I'm always cautioned, particularly by one gentleman whose opinion I value, that Finger Motion is a Chinese stock. And Trump doesn't care about Chinese stocks. Trump doesn't care about China per se. But, what's good about Trump is he's a businessman. And he's going to say, let's do a deal that's good for China. Let's do a deal that's good for Finger. For the United States. And it'll be good for Finger in both cases. All right, Ham is here. Maybe he wants to talk to you. Hello?
Are you still on?
I am, but your speaker, I got to get it for you.
Yeah, put me on.
Battery 80%. Connected to you. Feels like
All right, should be. No, okay, sorry. Hang on. All right, now you're connected.
You there, William?
Yeah, we're here.
So I have a text message which I sent to you, William.
I didn't see
I
it.
had a friend that was looking to buy a shell, and one of the people that you actually speak to, I reached out to him, and he basically found the shell. He said, "Blank, this is the shell that I offered to your friend. The symbol is NUKK. He's merged with somebody else because nobody wanted to do anything.
Wow.
And we're at
That was the one. Wow.
That was the one. I knew about it. He told me about it.
And I know when he did it. And the guy, why didn't the guy do it? I can't remember the reason.
I don't know. But we had the whole deal. My friend.
We would be sitting pretty. We wouldn't have to talk to all these people anymore. Just kidding.
He had the whole deal.
Wow.
And I sent you the text message on who it was and everything about it, and where it came from. But it's just amazing that, you know, that you're that close. And the thing's trading up 20.
I think it was the intermediary banker type that put the kibosh on it.
I'm sure. But that stock is trading up $20 now in the aftermarkets.
Well, we'll get one of those. Look at I was just telling this guy, the CEO of Nixxy, Granger Whitelaw, he became CEO in March, and he's resigning at the end of the month. They gave him 250,000 shares. I mean, at $5, that's a lot of money. But imagine if it goes to 10 or $20. He you know, all of us will get our chance.
These games are good people, good CEOs quit because they can see the fight and they don't want to fight.
No, they want the payday too.
Yeah, well, again, I remember speaking to a CEO, I can't remember the company, and I asked him how old he was. He said 50. I said, well, you can make more money working at Walmart. It murdered his stock. He reversed it, never sold a share. I mean, everything I told him happened to him. And my friend was invested in there and lost a lot of money in there. But it just doesn't pay unless you can fight back. His lawyers didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight. And instead, they got wiped out.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But I just want to let you know that I had the deal. Me, I had the stupid deal. My friend, I introduced it to the guy, and my friend backed out. I don't know why. And just to throw some salt on him, I sent him the text message to remind him of what he had.
That'll get you paid.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely going to be pissed off at me. You're the one that had it. Don't look at me. But just show you that.
I'm sorry.
No, listen, you know the
I know the deal. I know the guy. I know that.
So people always say, "Oh, this guy's bullshit." You know nothing about it. No, I didn't know anything about it. I almost had the deal, but I forgot.
You had it. It was a layup. I just can't remember what the friction point was.
Yeah.
It was a layup.
This is 2 months ago, and I had it, and I didn't. I know.
2 months. It was 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
I can't remember where I got this from. I can't remember, but I hear things all the time, and I just wanted you to see it. I sent you the text message so you can, you can see it yourself.
All right.
Anyway, listen, have a great
Appreciate
night,
it.
everyone, and,
I'm gonna be depressed.
Look,
Suddenly I'm depressed.
Look how close I was to being in the driver's seat here.
It's going to be interesting when you become rich. I wonder if you'll take my phone call.
Not a friend. I didn't see it the closing on the finger motion. They came in trying to mark it down. Hurry up, the market's selling off. Let's sell finger motion down. That's the first stop. It didn't go up with the market, but that's the first one they try to sell it down. It's such a scam. Listen, people, they always try to take advantage of you all the time, pushing the market down on stocks when the market's down. And when the market goes up, does your stock go up? Nope. Right? You never see them marking it up.
Well,
you can just pushing it down.
I think one advantage with fingers, we know the story and we continue to.
Yeah, no, listen, you got to look at the brokerage firms today. Jeffries is down 4. That DIRT, which I continue to post that it's worthless. It's down $1.55. Where's Goldman? Goldman's got to be down a bunch too. Goldman down $25. I said yesterday, the brokerage firms, their stocks are all going to be cut in half when they do stock settlement, right? They pumped them all up, and now they're all going to get hammered. So, this is what happens. Anyway, I'll let you go, William. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry. And now I can.
No, it's great. Now,
everybody, I just want you to know that
I think I'm going to start drinking again.
I'm probably going to add myself a cool 300,000, 500,000 shares as commission. The stock only went to 70. What is that? 70 times 500,000. How much money is that? Like 35 million?
I think you're in the wrong business.
Yeah, I was right there.
You're in the wrong business.
It's okay. Back to the poorhouse. No big deal. All right, everyone. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm trying to answer the question. I get off. I'll go down quickly, and then I got to go walk my dog. Democratic and Republican, both fascist. Yeah, Ralph Nader, I've met him. Listened to him. He came to my school when I was a freshman. He said, look forward, look to your left, look right, look behind you. None of those people will be here when you graduate. And he was right. Then the restaurant up here he eats at, I've seen him walk by. But yeah, he said that. Dow down. It's not a lot. The Dow is down. You know how much, Pete, it's down? 2.5%. 2.5%. You give your for buying coffee, you give more than 2.5% tip. The Dow's not down very much. I'm 30 years, 6 years old. Yeah, good for you that you're 30. That's great. That's awesome to hear. I don't think it's the duopoly. I think it's the lobbying and the corporate donations I think the election should be paid out of the public tit, and it should be capped off, and it should have a short duration. And I think the vote should be one day with an ID, U.S. citizens, and at midnight, if the count isn't completed, go with what you've counted. Then I don't know how to solve that, but maybe at 4 a.m. it's over with. And I think it should be midnight. And then I did disagree with Republicans. I don't think term limits are the answer, because with lobbying, if you get somebody brand new, like this idiot Ann Wagner, you just give her a piece of paper to read, she reads it. I think the answer is what I said: public financing of elections. America was sold out by Bill Clinton. I'll invest in your campaign, Aaron. Just remember I said that. Even though silver and gold went down, you still think it'd climb up? Near future. Okay, Sid. I believe gold. Okay, Sid, quickly. There's going to be two phases of the move. There's going to be one phase where you get wealthier, and then there'll be a phase where you just keep your wealth. But I think gold is going to go to $40,000 an ounce, and it could go as high as $100,000. The $40,000 is going to be your wealth creation. If it stops at $27,000, give me a win on it. But I think it's going to go to $40,000. Why? Because this guy, that's the wrong book. I don't have it here. I don't have it. I don't have a picture of the dude here. Oh, maybe I do. This book. Maybe I can get a picture of this dude. Yeah, this dude. We put a placemaker in the book. This dude, James Rickards. I've read every book he has. I'm on his newest one, but I found out there's two I haven't read. I'm going to order them tonight, and I'm going to read them. I've read everything he's ever, and I listened to him. James Rickards believes that when the reset comes, if the United States is at the table, and if the goal is to come to a solution for U.S. debt and, frankly, the worldwide amount of dollars in the system, 40,000 is the number. He uses 40% rough gold standard. It's not really going to be a gold standard. 40%, and I think he uses M2, but it might be MO or MX. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's his calculation. 40,000. So if you take 40,000, silver right now trades at 1 ounce of gold for 80 ounces of silver. I think that's going to contract, but let's just stick with that. 40,000 divided by 80. That's $500 for silver. That's my framework. So I think you buy silver, you buy gold, and you never trade it. You never get out. However, I don't think you're going to be able to buy silver under $40 as soon as it might be by the end of the year. Hopefully we have another month or two. But I think there'll come a time when silver breaks through 50. It'll never come under 50 again. Never. So you should be focused on silver, not gold. Gold, I think, can go to 3,500, 4,000, but it can pull back. There's going to be a crash next year or the fall. At some point, there's going to be a hard landing. But when silver comes back down, it's not coming. Do you know, Sid, that a Tomahawk missile has a monster box worth of silver in its nose? And there's not enough silver to meet physical demand right now. I don't know. I'm going to go quickly because my poor boy. Fight back with tariffs. I don't like tariffs, but we'll see what happens. I'm willing, you get to the point you got to try anything. Smoot-Hawley Act and all that crap and those tariffs apparently were the reason for the Great Depression. I'm not totally sure about it, but that's what I was taught when I studied economics. My poor dog. You mess with the mighty rich heads roll. The Palestinian borderline has been moving since it was drawn in sand. That's true. But I'll tell you what, the Palestinians were there first. Look how quick they locked up Sam Bankman-Fried. I'll give you a winner. Magic number. Is the magic number for logic still 16? I think they're going to have to issue more shares. I think the target that I heard was 40 to 60 cents. But Lucky, don't go down those stairs. Come here. Don't go down there. Oh gosh. He almost fell down the stairs. He fell down 2 and I grabbed him. All right, we'll get going. You can't go down there. Anyway, the reason I came up with 16 to 18, that's where the gap is in the chart. But I'd have to say, now that time has gone by, personally, I'd lower my upside target, which was 40 to 60 cents. I'd probably lower that 30, 40 cents, but I still think it trades up to that level. Having said that, I'd like to know what's going on with this most recent publicly announced merger and acquisition, and I don't have that information. But yeah, there's risk in the stock, Mario, but I would say that I would stand by that target. Companies will rise under Trump. Naked shorting will end. Okay, I hope so. By the way, the money doesn't kill Wall Street. It just goes from Merrill Lynch to Morgan Stanley or wherever it goes. Al Jazeera. Yeah, you don't have to go to Al Jazeera. You can go to Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper. But you're right. All right, I'm almost done. Yeah. Well, when I say nobody understands it, what I mean is we don't know all the tricks they have. We don't know all their avenues. That's all. Still holding, that's fine. Finger's going to be fine as an investment. Trump can prove me wrong. That's true. And you know what? Yeah, you could. If he does it with DJT, it'll help our stocks. So it could be. Could be. Maybe I'm just jaded. It could be. All right, I'm going to go walk my dog. I appreciate everybody listening. And we'll talk tomorrow. Start enjoying Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. Come Friday, the markets are going to be dead for a while. So anyway, we will talk later. Peace, over and out.